Assalamu alaikum. You all may be seated. It's always pleasing to see the family. Do we have any visitors today? First timers? Oh, very good. Today is somewhat of a special day. I want to make it easy for you all to question me of questions that you have. Have you all got any questions for me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I asked Sister National to make it known that I would answer questions today concerning myself, no names and tribes. Whatever you can think of that's going to help you to understand that this is real. You know, you all may have battles with the devil, paying your bills, with each other, you know, your attitudes and whatnot. It's minimum, very minuscule compared to mine. Because Satan never misses an opportunity to stab at me, regardless of what it is. Could be a dog, piece of iron, but mostly he's more effective with people. And our people, the ones that said it, well, Father, I'm with you. The ones that are not with me, I mean, they just come right and say, I ain't with you. So I can look to see, you know, well, I know they're going to throw something at me if they can. But you get your own that's right with you, and you put your guard down, kind of find out you got to wipe your face off, you know, because they done threw something and got you. You didn't have your guard up. So this is constant, and usually Sundays is the day the ministers from around the country call me, and they express all of the weekly activities that Satan's been doing, and I have to somewhat take it off them. However, in the near future, that's going to cease. The more activities we have, the less time you have to be devilish. You know, the nation is growing because I won't stop. You know, a lot of times it appears as though the attitude is, well, if we can wear Father down, he might just call it off and we won't have to have no fundraiser and we won't have to come out to the meetings and we can just relax. Well, I'm glad you saying no, sir, because I ain't going to let up. The reward is too great. There is nothing. I remember the messenger said more than once, just on us attending Savior's Day. He said there is no sacrifice that you can come up with that's too great not to come make it to Savior's Day. And that was just for one day, Savior's Day. So there definitely is no sacrifice that's too great for you to put an elimination to Satan and have happiness forever. Building your own heaven. There is no such sacrifice that's too great. Now, if we say death, all of those that has gone before us, including the messenger, gave up his life to make sure that we be successful. So we should keep this in mind and not someone else's behavior towards you. You know, if you go on a job and it pays you $20, $25 an hour, and you can live pretty good with that. However, on the job, you got somebody that's constantly nagging you. I mean, you don't quit because the $25 an hour won't let you. You know, you put up with it, argue, you know, you go home, take aspirin and all that kind of stuff, but you won't quit. Well, this is far greater than that. Far greater than that. The children that we are bringing up today, just being able to teach them how to think. How to think. You know, we have Earth here in the solar system. It's a wide open book. And I'm teaching those that want to learn, and the children don't have a choice, how to read this book. It's the book of nature. It's the book of God. It's the book of the unseen. They're being taught how to read it. And once they learn it, no one or nothing will ever be able to rob them, ever, ever, ever again. Now, those of us that are already to a certain age, and we've been used to reading the book of the enemy. Every book that you read, he's the author of it, even if a black man wrote it. Because the words that he used, he gives the definition of what white folks say that they're supposed to mean, and that's what you get from it. So we have a difficult time understanding that there's two books and one must be read and one must be closed. This book that we allowed the man to have and express for 6,000 years, we've got to close it now. You've got to close it. And the book that's been here forever, ever since we made it, you've got to open it and start reading it. If you're not, the book itself has your fate already in it. And it's called death. I just want you to know this. Because it looks as though the more we're growing, the less participation that we're having as far as keeping what we got, at least at an even keel. And we're acquiring more and more things. And the people that are in heaven are working, and they're almost doing the work of 2 or 3 people, each one of them. After a while, if they ever lose the idea, ever lose the grip on the idea of why this is even being done, then Satan slips in. And all that you're supposed to be doing and raising up will be gone in the twinkle of an eye. Because the same one that's doing all that work, what it take you 5 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours to do, you usually can tie it up in an hour or less. Is that right? Yes, sir. So I'm a teacher that is teaching you how to use your mind. Not to follow me, because I ain't going no place. I don't see a place that I am that is so repulsive that I have to leave and go someplace else. And I'm going to take you with me so you follow me to the next place. Everybody else does that. If I can come into the hills of North America and find the seed of Abraham, and you all were in the abyss of hell. And if I can come and find you and then come and reside in the abyss of hell, I could have just said, hey, come on, let's go. Because I can't do nothing with you here. I've got to take you out of here. That could have been done. But I said no. To show that there is no power greater than mine or the power of Allah. I will stay here and show you how to turn the abyss of hell into heaven. And it's written in Scripture that hell prepared you for heaven. But it didn't run you out. What we did, we changed hell to heaven. Because the ruler of hell had no authority. His time had ran out. We closed the book on it. Are you listening? Yes, I know you don't think this way. Because of the reports that keep coming back to me, and even for this particular day. Whatever you got on your chest today, I want you to get it off. Yes, sir. Don't worry about embarrassing me. I'll cry later. You won't see it. You ask your question, and I'll do the best I can to answer it where you can understand it. However, you must have a clear understanding as to what you are doing and what must be done. Now, I'm not saying for anyone that is working and you're doing the best you can, I can't ask you to do anymore. If you're not doing what you should do and you're trying to stop others to relax the law on them for them to go on cruise, well, then you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. The messenger taught, especially the ones that came under the messenger, we were taught that, it's hard to do right. So easy to do wrong. Because you got so much company. Wrong is it just jumps up. Just stay there in you. And when you look around, it's done jumped up in your partners, in your parents, in your children. So it's just easy to do wrong. Hard to do right because nobody wants to do it. They know it. They're not going to do it. So is that clear? Yes. We're going to heaven. And this is what I do every time I go. I don't go to look at the buildings. I don't go to look to see what something else that we've bought or purchased. I don't go for that. If we've purchased it, I want to see what we're doing with it. And if we're beautifying it or magnifying it, then I know it's coming from your thinking. Any building or project that we have purchased in heaven, I do not tell them what to do with it. They tell me, and then I say yes or no. I don't tell them, look, do this and do that and do the other. No, I don't do that. They tell me, well, Father, we're going to do so and so and so here. We're going to put so and so. I say, well, you are? Yes, sir. Well, how do you intend to operate it? Well, we're going to do so and so and so and so. Well, how much is it going to cost to get it up and running? Well, we don't know yet, Father. I said, well, I'll let you know when you let me know that. Then they let me know. I said, well, yes, you can do it. Or maybe you better wait a while. Go do the other project first. We got a lot of things that's sitting waiting on us. I mean, we already got it. Got the deeds to it and everything. We haven't done anything with it because there's not enough of us that is actually masters at the craft of what we do to be able to keep up with what we're acquiring and what's being given to us. Are you listening? Yeah. However, the things that we are doing and for people to come and see and participate in is always amazing to them. Amazing. You don't see it because you're here and the fundraiser is blinding you. This is what it is. And for the amount of dinners that you all get during a fundraiser, I could get those in half a day. A lot of times I have the urge to go do it, and the other thought comes, if you do it, they're not going to do it for real. Or you doing it. Do what you're supposed to do, Royall. You inspire them and then protect them. Last time I was here, I think I was speaking about places of rest between here and Kansas City. Yeah. Well, that's actually is going to become a reality very, 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 very soon. I have Brother Abbas hashing it over now in his thinking. And if you really want to know who Abbas is, you should open the Bible and read about Bethlehem. And then you'll know what his duty is to the nation and yourself. It's not a hard thing to do. We just have to be dedicated and serious about doing it. You know, you can ride all what you look at here. How many black people own what you see? If the earth produced it for them, and the man that's got it is against nature, what make you think we can't get it? Now, we have acquired a coach bus, a 49-passenger bus. Has the minister told you about it? We're going to start the run. I'm going to see how many people get on the bus and go back and forth. That's mainly why you all don't, you really don't know what's going on, because you never go see. You know, you're too caught up in what you're doing here. And you'd be surprised. Well, I won't say you'll be surprised. Because when you do go, you get filled up. And you come back, you're all renewed, but it wears off. You know, it's like you take a bath and you feel fresh and clean, and you get out and you run, but the motion that you're doing is taking the freshness off. So you get back in, you get in that mundane motion again, and you become numb to what you saw. Now you catalog it back in the back of your mind until some event comes up again, and you go back out and then it's fresh again. Oh, man. They are doing wonderful. It's not they, you are. So when I go in and see what's taking place there, I make sure that I look at what's coming out from their mind. What kind of activity is going on? How do they look? What type of harmony do they have? That's what I look for. Now, if I see them, they look raggedy. They look like they're halfway arguing. They're just laying around, moving real slow. Something is wrong. So I call a meeting mandatory. And then I ask, what's up? Because everything I'm seeing is down. So they got to explain it to me. I haven't done that over a couple of times because it hasn't been that bad. However, wherever I see wrong, if it's in my presence, I go about writing it. Now, it's not that many of us, and it was already prophesied it wouldn't be that many, especially the head. However, because of us, the few, we will actually get the many, and they have to do the work. There's no way in the world the number that we are now could actually carry out everything that has to be done. However, the number can't do it because they have not been taught how to think. They think like this world. You know, in this world, thinking is what's got us in the condition that we are now. There is no place, well, there is just one on this planet where there isn't chaos. Now, if the thinking was so great, it should eliminate even the possibility of that. The man and people and parties that influences the whole world's activity is in chaos. That's the White House, the Republicans, the Democrats, the House, the Senate, the President. Now, and the Pope. I think when Tuesday, he's supposed to be in St. Louis, Missouri, right next door looking at us. And it's not by no coincidence. You know, I have a certain number of movies that I acquire or demand that the ones that are with me actually view. And the Omen series is one. The Omen series is about Damien, about the devil or Satan. And if you view that, most of us think, well, that's just a movie, figment of somebody's imagination. How could someone put that so detailed if it wasn't true? The expression of it isn't true in the sense that it took place in 2 hours when you're looking at it. It's dramatic. It's something that is emphasizing the point and the principle. However, for them to even come up in their mind to be able to put it out for you to see it, step by step by step, show you that somebody knows something about you you don't know. And it's all cloaked. So the ones that really know, they know exactly what's being said. And the little sheep that's led to slaughter, ready to be eaten, you all are just looking and thinking, well, it's a movie. Oh, man, how could he do that? It's the idea that's being expressed. For this man to be able to come up with that idea and make it out in a life story, it's saying that he already know what is happening before it happens. And you are working for him and perpetuating his system. I'm telling you. We gave him money, or the use of it, we gave him that idea. We never used it before he came about. There was no need. Then we put it in prophecy. The love of money is the root of some evil. Oh, all evil. You see? It didn't say you were forbidden to use it. If you use it as a tool to enhance righteousness, then it's not the money you love, it's righteousness you love. However, if you love money because it seems to give you power, and you go after it, then it makes you to develop the negative side of you. And if you white people, it just makes you to develop. And you feel comfortable in it. They come up with a system, and it's dog eat dog. So any righteous man going after money, just going after it, he's not righteous. Because what you have to do to actually acquire it and then hold on to it is everything but righteous. But our view is so shallow. You know, most of us don't look past our nose. You all have been riding in a vehicle and you see the sign says, you know, right lane closed. You see it good over his back. Then if you look up, you can see the arrow pointing over. Go to the left. You hear somebody riding beside you. They go with them, almost got the hit brake. They get over. Where was he looking? It must have been right across the hood. That's what a lot of us is doing in life. And the main thing about it, once you stop looking at me, you lost.
Yes, sir.
You can forget it. Once you want to put somebody else in my place, well, I'm not going to do this because she did this to me, or she said that, or he did this. Oh, the nerve of him. You lost. You can't say that about me, or maybe you can. If you can't come to the mic, those of you, I'm not angry. Don't be frightened. I'm not angry. Feel like, well, I got to scold you. That's not it today at all. I want you, every time that you do a symbol, and I do come before you, I got to stress the idea that's taking place so that it can serve you. Every time the clock ticks, you're not going to get that back. It's coming closer and closer to the closure of the book, of the time. And when the last one comes, bam, click, it's gone. What you going to do? If you have no knowledge at all of what to do, where to go, what you should be doing, what are you going to do? You're left at the mercy of the righteous or mercy of the wicked. And the wicked is not going to have no mercy. They're becoming more and more angrier every day. Every day. Because they see something is taking place. And the main thing they see, they don't quite see us yet. However, they do see that they're losing grip. Everything that they had to, what they call to their advantage, they're losing grip on it. It's slipping away. And they can't come up with no ideas as how to maintain or hold it. They can't do it. And to let them know that the heavens are against them. The different things that's happening in nature that's taking them out. 8, 9, 10 people at a time. And then busting up what they love the most, their material things. They know that they're up against a power that they have no knowledge and no power to deal with. You wait until they see you all. They're going to see that you are in harmony with this power. Now they have someone that they can direct their anger to. You know, they can go out there and shoot bullets in the storm, but it don't mean nothing. They can't damage that. However, if they get a beat on and say, well, these are the people that's causing it. So I say, make haste to use everything that's in your power to strengthen yourself before that day comes. Because they most certainly going to see you. Like the prophecy reads about the children that inherited the earth, or the children of God. You're going to be so pronounced, it's going to be unmistakable as to who you belong to. I'm telling you, that's my duty to let you know. Because I'm not going to stop it. However, if you're with me, I will protect you. You won't have to worry about that. It used to be about doing what we got to do to make sure that we conquer this and take back what belongs to us, which is the earth and all of the workings of it. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you have any questions of me, we'll go ahead and start today early enough so you all can get all your questions answered. You may ask Brother Islam, if you all, if you all been watching Fred Price, and he's been trying to make it look so great, and Islam so crazy, what have you, Christianity, Jesus, me, my wives, children, uh, whatever, except your name and tribe. So do any of you all have any questions? So come to the mic, and we'll go for it. This is when you all get to heaven. I have the car in the warehouse. I have both cars already there. Miss White has beautified it. I asked her to make a showcase and put the two cars there and the paraphernalia that goes with it, so that you all will be able to see when you come out how I treat what you gave me and what you should expect to receive. Matter of fact, when they finished, I asked two or three people, what did it look like, since I haven't seen it. And I asked Brother National Secretary James, I said, well, what does it look like to you? He says, it's so detailed, it looked like God. So I said, well, I got to go see that. I asked my wife, I said, what does it look like? She said, it looks like the old car is better than the new one. don't want to give it up. However, it could not be made that kind of way if it was not already in her mind. I'm going to say it again. Whatever beauty that you see that someone has put up or have done with a particular thing, place, an object, or even somebody, it had to come from the thinking and then the will to make it so. So if it is as beautiful as it's been reported to me, then I can see, well, this bears witness to my wife, what's inside of her thinking. That's the way I look at it. Well, I won't delay anymore. Yes, sir. Is it on?
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Wa alaikum salam.
I had two questions I wanted to pose. My first question was concerning the Caucasian man. To my knowledge, that the only thing that we owe people is the truth. And if you don't share that with people, then their blood will be on your hands. If you have the clear opportunity to share with somebody about the idea.
Well, yes, sir. If it's in a situation where you have a captive audience or you have time where you're standing and speaking with people, yes, you share the truth that way. If you are actually in their presence there with you and you're working, a lot of times you don't have to say nothing. Just how you conduct your own self in your own rhythm speaks louder if you were saying something. So that's also sharing the truth. Now, if it's going to be verbalized and the person don't want to hear it, don't tell them. If it's a insult to them and they're not in your place and you're not in their place, and they say, well, I don't want to hear it. Hey, all right, leave it alone. If you're going to have a conversation and you're speaking knowledge or intelligence, especially of the time, and they want to hear it, by all means, do so. And if it's more than two, and one don't want to hear it and one does, then either the two leave or have the other one leave. But make sure the one that want to hear it. Now, this is not including white folks. No, don't do that with white people. Even if they ask you, you be very careful how you answer. They don't take truth to actually make it benefit them in the way of truth. They take it to make sure it come against you. Just like all these people, well, not all. Most black people that got your money in the banks and all this kind of thing, and you think that you're making money for you. He's using it against you. It's almost better if you take it out and put it underneath your bed. At least, hey, you're not earning no interest. However, he's not using it against you either. And so when you do spend it, if you spend it with us and yourself, well, then everything you build up is the resistance against the other ones that's coming against you. But most of y'all don't see it that way. And as long as you don't see it that way, then, you turn on the TV and you got your stock markets and you got your computers and everything, you think you keep it up with what's happening in life. This is modern technology. This is quick death. If it was so modern and Allah loved it so much, why is he going to take it out? You see? So everything that is in motion perpetuating this is against you and I. Now, if you have some of it, then there's a way to use it, just like we're using this English language. If we use it the correct way, where we get the positive meaning from the words, the sentences, and the paragraphs, and so on, then it's all right for us to use it. But if we're going to use it where it tears us down, we have no morale, we have no spirit, everything is against us, then that's the way he uses it. Because if he can see, he's always comparing. Always. Anytime you tell them, they talk about the president like a dog all the time. There's always, and as though if they put somebody else in, they can be better. They do the same thing when they get another one. So to let you know, it's a system that never looks for right. If they look for it, it is to be used to perpetuate wrong. So don't share it with him. Now, if he asks you a question, well, is God black, or you all teaching that, whatnot? Then you ask him a question. Well, if I answer that, how would it help you? Well, I just want to know what you all think. Then ask him, well, is Jesus white? Then he said, well, yeah, Jesus is white. Well, how do you know that? You start asking questions.
Yes, sir.
Then he'll find out, oh, this is one of them white ones.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. My second question is about concerning building my record for the nation. It was shared with me that once you get your X, your name goes in the book of life, and everything that you do is recorded.
Yes, sir.
However, I'm in motion now, and I haven't received my X. I'm in motion with the nation.
Yes, sir.
Is my motion that's with the nation? Is that being recorded?
You mean although you don't have your X?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Everything that you do is being recorded once you say in your mind that you are with this. Once you say it and you really mean it, it's recorded from that time on. Now, the other thing where it's recorded in the books, that's just for somebody that want to know. How can you prove it? Oh, here it is. However, with me, nothing has to be written. Nothing has to. With me, no such thing as an X, because I know you. See? You all understand what's being said?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I had about 4 questions. The first being, when can we expect the famine to hit North America?
It's already done. It's already happening. It's happening by degrees. The first famine was thought. Can't think.
Yes, sir.
Now we're coming into the food shortage and whatnot. We have there's a phantom of real friends. There's a phantom of the real knowledge of God. There's a food phantom. It's about to make itself really known this year. There's a phantom towards everything that's righteous. It's only going to intensify. And it's in scripture that none of this happened all of a sudden. It reads that the destruction came in a way that you perceived not. So by the time you realize it's destruction, oh my God, it's up to your eyeballs. You can't change it. You can't even change your position. So it's best that you start to do things just from good sense. If you say, well, look, I'm hearing about this Solomon. He's supposed to be the one by scripture that with all this knowledge. The people that's with him speaks very highly of him and what they know. Let me go and check it out. So when you do that, and the phantom is steadily increasing, then you find out that not only am I wise just for me, I'm producing a place for you when the phantom gets to a point where you can't protect yourself or do anything. I have a controlled place for you where you won't be affected. If it is, it'll be very minimal. See, that's why. In no other place is doing this. You know, the Catholics, or well, say Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, and Islam as we know it from the East, and Minister Farrakhan. Nobody is preparing a place for what's coming, what's here, and what's going in. And nobody's doing that. Nobody. But us. And they looking at us like, you know, heaven. They calling that heaven. They go out and look for heaven. They look around and see some buildings. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. I mean, well, that's all? That's heaven? Well, come into your place and show me your heaven. Well, I never said I was building heaven. Well, you better start building something. You know, you better start doing something because the time is here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
See? So, if that answers your question, buddy.
Yes, sir. My second question goes into Buddhism. I was reading the message to the black man last night, and the message referred to the two opposing forces to Islam would be Buddhism and Christianity. And I want to know what was the root of Buddhism, because I never understood what Buddhism was as a religion.
It's almost like saying, who is God? People, you know, this whole experience that we're going through is from a plan. And in order for us to become so away from our nature, it took a lot of time. It took at least 50,000 years. Now, in the journey from the 50 to making it 50,000 years, the first 15,000 years where we got far enough away from our own nature where we could make a pronounced statement. And that was Buddhism. That was like the pronounced fractionalizing of the oneness. God, all before then, is one. Is one. Now, since the knowledge was cut off, Shabazz went into the jungle and everything. He said, well, we're not going to do this no more because we got to get ready to bring about this other man. And we cannot bring him about as long as we got this knowledge. We just won't permit it. So let's start lessening the knowledge in degrees. So like the big prize fight used to be 15 rounds. Is that right?
Right.
All right, so the first 15,000 years, from 15 back to 35, you come up with the first pronounced fraction away from the oneness, which is called Buddhism.
Yes, sir.
And then when we got down to the real nitty-gritty, because the people still were black, they was doing it at the time. Now we got down to the 180 degrees against us, then we come up with Christianity. Because the man that is 180 degrees against us is the one that fashioned this by our permission.
Yes, sir.
So that's why they are the greatest two that is against us. Buddhism has been long enough in the practice to make them think there ain't no God, except who they make God. You got to be Buddha. If it was a God, you know, like my wife told me, you know, if you was God, for what I did to you, I'd been dead. I'm talking about the first one. I ain't talking about the one I got now.
Yes, sir.
I want to clear that up. I thought to myself, you don't know how God works. Because that's what you would have done. That ain't the way I work. You know, I'll laugh, have coffee with you, and we have a good time. I can do that because you can't do them too. When I take you out, I'll take you out on my own good time. That might be 2 minutes later after we just finished drinking the coffee. Might be 10 years, it might be 20 years, it might be 50 years. I might cause you to live 100. Let you see everything that you can have. And then deny you of it. Death brings an end to everything. How many of you ever experienced true fear? True fear. Now, there's a difference in the fear. I'm not talking about where you get ready to have an accident. And the fear comes, you know, the fright comes up. That's fear, but it ain't true fear. That's not true fear. It's fear. How many of you been sitting and doing nothing, thinking that whatever you was doing was fine, and fear just ease up in your chest? There's no reason that you can think, why is this happening? then the first thing, if you're black, first thing goes into your mind, this is coming from the Creator. What have I done? What's happening with this? It don't feel like my heart. I'm not having a heart attack. What's happening? And it starts to growing. So much so it's like, oh God, you start looking around. Where is he? You know, let me say I'm sorry or whatever. That's true fear. The other is not true fear because you see what's coming. It's fear, but it ain't true fear because you see. And if you get to the point it looks like death is coming, you see it, you say, oh, well, what the hell? Gone. But when it's on you, you can't find the source of it. You can't control it. I don't care how much you try to breathe slowly to ease it off. It don't ease off. You know it's coming from some other place, from another power. And you're searching for the author of the power, but you can't find it. And it increases. Well, Brother Roy, how you know about that? Because I send it every once in a while. That's true fear. So I may let you live with that for a while. Then tell me where your God is. Maybe you all might say, well, you know, he talks all of this. You know, as a man thinketh,
so is he.
Do you all think about the things that I say? I mean, do you come up with those things? You think about it after I've said it? Yes, sir. You know, that's, it's so many of us that love white folks and what they do. That when the door does close, I'm going to show you a lot of things that you missed and a lot of things that you never expected. Are you listening? Yes, sir. A lot of things. You heard about when the brother came up and tried to kill the messenger and came on up into his home. And went running out. And the messenger asked Master Muhammad, what are you showing? He said, you don't want to see that. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to see it. Show it to me. You don't want to see it? I really want to see it. The messenger never did say what he saw. He just said, you don't want to see that. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm going to combine my third and fourth question. The third one was about the 666 and how, I guess, the white man, how he would mark everybody with the mark of the beast, I guess with the microchip either in your right hand or in your forehead.
Yes, sir.
And the last one pertained to Nimrod. I understand about him committing incest with his mother and Christmas being his birthday, but who would he be styled as living today?
He'd be the white man. You know, he'd be the white man. This man does everything he possibly can. You know, and this is something else too. You all thinking, you got your thinking caps on?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Here's a man that has fixed up a whole scenario concerning the supreme being. And the whole thing is a lie. Then he builds activities around the lie to make you think it's real. So he's telling a lie about the only reality in existence. What makes you think he ain't gonna lie to you about everything else? If he can lie to you about the existence of Allah himself, and he knows it, he knows it. He that is living today never seen Allah in his full form as he really is. He knows you, the black man is Allah. He knows the black man is that. But he haven't seen you yet as your real self. So to keep you from ever seeing it, he make you look at him. He know he lying. Then he fix up Christmas, Easter, all these other what they call so-called holidays, holy days, for you to go and worship your enemy. And you ain't seen Jesus? You ain't heard him say nothing? Only everything you hear of what he tell you Jesus said. And you can't find nothing written where Jesus wrote anything. Is that right? So if he can fix up a lie and bring that to you, then what makes you think he got some type of morals that he's going to give you the truth about anything else he got? If he tell you the truth, it's so as to benefit him and not you. Who is that that just resigned from the basketball? Michael Jordan? And people just crying, wanting to reconsider. It ain't because they love black man or love him because he's black. They love the money. They said he was the single most black person that made this country more money than anybody else. They ain't talking about how much money he made, how much he has made for them. Not the team. They said the country. So they don't want him to retire. If they was really his friend and going to tell him the truth, they would tell him, look, you better seek out Solomon. You know, you done played for us long enough. Go seek him out. And what we are afraid to tell you, he'll tell you. And we don't mind him telling you because he's not going to tell you in a way where he wants you to go and come against us. He just wants you to get right. Now, as far as the 666, you want to know about that? Well, these are numbers that is it's the number of God and the number of a man. The God is the white man. 6 represents the God number. That means the white man. He's a God. He's a God of wrong. However, it's also the number of a man. The man is us. We were working under the number of 6 because we had never got to perfection. As long as you're working in the even numbers, it means that you are not perfecting what you're doing. If you're working with 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, you're not finished. So as long as the God was working in, when we brought about this man, this God of 6, which means a man that actually perfects imperfection. You know, so much so he got you worshiping something other than God. That's how good he is with it. He has perfected imperfection. He's the God of it. So since we're not the God of that, then we the man. Because we were the man then that brought him about. But we weren't God, what we call God, because we had not completed what we had to do operating in the 6. As far as we was operating as 1 and 3 and 5, we were God in his completion. You see? And that's why they say after the 6 days, the 7th day, we're going to put you to rest. Because here we come back with the uneven number again. God is coming back. This is a new God. However, it took, 6 days or 600 years to make this white man, or graft him out to make him. What's the other 6? Then it took 600 years. It took 600 years. It took 600 years to make him. Wait, now, let me get it right. Because after we took 600 to make it. We gave him 6,000 years to rule. It's another 6. Oh yeah, that's right. 59,000, and one made it 60,000, which makes it another 6 to actually make him. In other words, when we went to the island of Pelon, you know, when the black man took Yaku and drove him out, he went to this island. He took 59,900 people with him. He made 60,000. 60,000. 60,000? 60,000. So that's a 6. Then the 600 took to make him, in 6,000 that he had to rule, so that you get your 666. Now, it means now, after talking about in your forehead and your hand, he's been doing this so long that it bears witness that he has controlled everything. So if you're going to buy and sell, you got to use what he got, which now is money. See, or you use his technology. See, when you really high up in it, you don't never touch money. It's all on paper. Is that right, brother? All on paper. You write a note, but now it's just facts. It's transferred from bank to bank. You don't even see it. But that's what it means. You're going to have to operate that way until I come along. I come along. Now he's talking about a cashless society. Let's get the jump on that Solomon. When he comes out with it, it'll look like he's copying after us. He can't do it the way we're doing it, though. Because first, the people has got to be in agreement with it according to what is real. You can't do it on no lie. You can't do this. You can't have, unless you're going to do like they did with their brothers over as slaves. You know, they just, hey, no, you ain't getting paid, and you're going to eat the swine. You know, and you better not say nothing about it. Hey, if you're going to do that, I mean, you know, not today, I think we'd die, before we let us do that. Let him do that. We would. But we got a whole lot of black people who wouldn't. Well, now, in order for we're doing it, we're working, and we're not working for money. We're using it here as it's being phased out to produce what is ours by nature. So it will bring our nature alive. We don't need much. Birds, the lion, even the snake don't spend no money. You know, the spider don't spend no money. And they all live. You can't get rid of him. Even the cockroach, you like getting rid of him, he hangs around. You don't spend no money. So ain't no way in the world they're going to do it, and we're not going to do it. So that's what it means about that. All right? Hope I'm not being too long with these questions, answers. If that's it, you got another one?
No, I just want to say assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. If this is not clear to you, get the tape so you can hear it. Over.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Wa alaikum salam.
It's indeed an honor and a privilege to be in your presence today, and it's a privilege to be with my family. We don't get to come up here often, but when we do get to come, it's definitely worth our while. I know my thoughts are not your thoughts. However, when the brothers and I were riding up this morning, I'd share with them that if I got a chance to ask you a question, I would like for you to expound on Brother Price, because it had gotten to a point where I didn't even want to listen to Brother Price no more. And I sort of understand where he's coming from. However, I wanted the absolute. A brother from Tallahassee and I was in a conversation, and he was sharing with me that how doubt comes in our minds sometimes, even though we know from doing the math that this is the absolute. And he shared with me that he would like to know why the influx of the 144,000 hadn't come like they ought to come. And I would like for you to share that with us, Father. And before you share that, Father, I can't help but bear witness that you are who you say you are. Because, like in your tape, Never Alone, I've called on you 4 times. And one time I was about to get robbed, Father. And I tell you, every time I call, you answered immediately. It won't a couple of days later, it was then. And I just want to thank you, Father, and I hope I didn't get off the subject of the question, but if you could you expound on what Brother Price is doing?
Well, he's a man that's being used by Satan, and he thinks he's being called by God. However, you know, Satan is a god. To show the difference between Christianity and Islam. What is actually taking place is he's starting like from 5 when he should start from 1. If you're going to start from just 6,000 years ago, you may as well not start. If you want to compare the original man to 6,000 years, or the man of 6,000 years, there's no comparison. And that's what he has done. However, we're allowing him to do this to somewhat steer the hearts of the 144,000 that's being so reluctant in coming. And one of the main things that is stopping, I won't say stopping, that's causing them to be slow in their accepting this in myself, is because we haven't produced as much as what they had when the messenger passed. Or we haven't produced enough for them to say, yes, this is it. I'm going to be a part of it. This is it. That's all. When we produce a system where they can see it operating back and forth and without them, then something gonna come up in them like, wait, the train is taking off. I better get on. You know, I can't find nothing wrong. This got to be it. If they're doing this, what they're doing in the face of the enemy, Warwick Dean couldn't do it, the flesh of the messenger. Louis Farrakhan couldn't do it. Nobody else is doing it. Here comes this man, Silas is not doing it. Here comes this man, he's producing everything that we need in the sense of being independent. Just got to be the man. That's when they're coming. However, now, when they do come, then they come with that submissive thing, wondering what they can do. They want to get on there. However, as far as prices, it's like kind of stimulating them to make them remember to recall. Because every time he says something wrong, what come up in your mind now? Is that wrong or right? No, he ain't right. It's making them remember. So that's why we're letting him do it. However, for you to start off trying to compare Islam with Christianity, the Islam that he's using is Islam that was given to the Caucasian as a favor to them. Not as nature, but as a favor. And it was given to them as a religion, although it means the way of life. God's way of life. We know he couldn't live our life, so we had to give it to him in bits and pieces, or at a degree where he could at least try to make it to that level. However, as far as it being real Islam, it's not. It's not. It's just a little knowledge. That's all. The real Islam has got to be done from us. This is why it started off with Elijah, or the coming of Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And then this way, it goes according to scripture. He raises one up. In other words, he didn't bring one. He came here and found the one that had the most will to be right. That is black, that is a slave. And he raised that one up. And he was one that was raised up that was not taught by white folks. And ain't no black man except myself that come and did anything greater than what Elijah did. He had no teaching from white folks. So he's comparing the wrong Islam. So as long as he's doing that, he's completely what he was reading this morning out of the hadith about Prophet Muhammad being like heartless, no mercy, cutting off the hands and feet. Well, you got to do those kind of people like that. You see, in other words, you make them do right from fear. They don't do right because of knowledge. Now, with us, the ones that is naturally Islamic, naturally by nature, we do things for knowledge. That's why it's written that our people lose their life for the lack of knowledge, not fear. But those people, if you're going to say, well, look, you got all this knowledge, we can see them coming in with an airplane and laying in over there. We turn on TV, you see them going out into space. So they're operating on some knowledge. Evidently, it must not be the right knowledge. Because they have not yet curtailed their behavior. If they did, they would treat us better. Not necessarily right, but better. You see? So Christ is working for us, and then at the end, they're going to see just how foolish Christianity is. We're going to turn it around. Don't even worry about that.
Thank you, Father.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say that since I have accepted Islam to be right, because I came from the Christian theology or Christian upbringing. However, I want to thank you personally again for giving me the shrewdness not to accept what the enemy was teaching us, and to continue giving me that confidence to where I can stand in an area where I'm surrounded by devils and lost found. Even in my home, there's a lost found that listen to Price and think she's right.
Yes, sir.
However, I know what's right.
Yes, sir.
Because you answered me in her midst.
Yes, sir.
And I calmed the chaos that was going on. And I didn't even say anything to her because I knew who you were.
Yes,
and I want to thank you.
Yes,
Assalamu alaikum.
You know, if you want to compare yourself, to this parable in the Bible, see yourself as being Daniel in the lion's den. However, it's much worse with us. The lion has one nature that he works from, and he don't work from tricks. And we protected him, so to say, where the lions were not hungry or they couldn't open their mouth to eat it. Now you're in the lion's den here now. And all of these lions are hungry. You're Daniel of the Lamb. All of them are hungry to kill you and eat you up. But like the brother say, if you're with me, they'll just be hungry. Yes, ma'am.
Salam alaikum, Father.
Walaikum salam.
I would like to know when you shared that we're with you, could you explain to us what you mean being with you?
Well, the only way that you can be with me if you learn to think the way I think. So as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you are thinking the way that I think, we are as one. If you are thinking other than that, you're not with me. And when I say with me, since I'm the one that thinks it first, my thoughts are more elevated than yours, more defined, more pronounced. So you don't have enough for me to be with you. So by nature, you have to be with me. And in being with me, whatever you need to eat on as far as thought, knowledge, then I'm duty bound to feed you. So if I'm feeding you and you're eating it and digesting it the way that you should, then you're just like me. You with me. That's what that means. And some of you are just literally with me.
Yes, sir. I would like to know, you shared that you put fear out in the atmosphere. Do you put fear out in the atmosphere for a reason or to put on someone, or you just put the fear out and anyone can pick it up?
Well, no, man, I don't put it out in the atmosphere. I direct it, to a particular person. If they're doing some things that they need to get a grip on themselves and make them, like the book reads, some things you got to pay for, that your hands have done so that you might return. And it's not necessarily your hands. If it comes down where you got to do it with your hands, that's little. When you deal with somebody here and you mess them up in their thinking, that's far greater than what you could do with your hands. I seen Mike Tyson fighting, fifth round, he won the fight and everything, then he's going back hugging and kissing on the man. I mean, after he done beat him up. You see, so his hands didn't do that much. However, if he had messed a man's thinking up, where he feels as though he could never do anything, he would never come to this like the minister is doing. Having everybody thinking, I got a call this morning, and they're telling me that the brother's been coming to the temple, and every time the minister mentioned Minister Farrakhan, he get up and leave. So they cornered him and asked him why he do that. So he said he wouldn't tell them for the first 2 or 3 times. Then they demanded that he answer. He says, well, we got a direct order from the captain that came from the minister that you all are trying to hurt the minister and you take advantage to hurt us anytime you can. So we were admonished to stay away from you all. You see? That type of thing, that's worse than, if you knock the brother out. So that type of person, I go and visit that person, send the fear there. Just to let them know what you think you got, it ain't enough. If you had enough power and will in your mind, you would get this fear off you. But you can't get it off unless I take it off. I got many ways to deal with you. But I don't just put it in the atmosphere because too many of us would pick it up and you may have a heart attack. What I do just put it in the atmosphere is knowledge. You got it in the tapes, you all got it. I'm on the radio, I'm on TV. So I just put it out there. That's out in the atmosphere. And plus I'm thinking, half the time I wake up in the mornings or before the sunrise, I'm thinking. And if you're up, a lot of y'all be picking it up. However, but to send something in the way of gripping you, I don't do that unless I send it directly to the person. I don't just do it in a blanket statement.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Father, and salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. It's something else too. This is my mother-in-law, one of the beautiful daughters. There's so many things that we as brothers has not grown to actually get into yet that will take the fear from our sisters. It don't make no difference how much the sister come to you and she thinks she's wearing the pants. If you're a real man, you don't even have to show her she got pants on. You're not sure. You just be a man to yourself. I mean, she can't really go through your belt buckle. And then she has to look down and say, well, I'm going to take these pants off and put a dress on. Yeah. Because now, until then, they are trying it because they don't see the real man. And in their trials, they run up against this fear. I don't know if I did that right. Oh, is Jesus going to get me? Oh, I pray to God I didn't offend him. You know, all this. If they had a man there, they say, look, baby, I just cussed out so and so and so. I said, what you think? Oh, what you call it, baby? I call everything but the child of God. But why you do that? Because she did so and so and so, he did so. Oh, you did? Well, okay. Call him up. I want to cuss him out too. You know, but that brings in their mind, hey, I didn't do nothing wrong. Well, when they're trying to put it out in the atmosphere for Jesus to answer them, they don't get no answer. So what comes up next? Since they didn't get an answer, here comes the fear. You see? So black man, you got to wake up. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Walaikum salam.
Father, I was looking at television a while ago, and one of the public television stations, they had a documentary on, and it was about the Caucasian and some of the Caucasians who are prominent and actually performing in nature of negatives, such as Hitler and other Caucasians of that nature. And they were also talking about the Aryan nation and the white world and these groups that perform negative. And it was shared that they were in contact with beings or beings that contacted them on ships and actually taught them or furthered them in their development of negative. And my question to you, Father, was: are there scientists of negative? Is there any validity to that?
No, sir. That's another ploy for white folks. Yeah, you know, the dumber you are, the less you can do. You know, don't know life form that have the knowledge to know how to come in and talk with you or deal with you on this planet that's coming from another planet. Gonna deal with somebody that's stupid. I mean, that'd be like me giving everything I got. It'd be like me giving my wife to white folks. Some white man said, "Look, I want you to take my wife all the way out to Kansas, whatnot, and then if you can't make it, y'all get a hotel room and everything." And I expect him to keep himself right. I'd be totally crazy. Be totally insane. The only way she go with him is be on the plane, and the plane's filled up with other people. So if he go down, he gonna die too. You see? In other words, intelligence seeks intelligence. However, it's intelligent for them to make you think that they're so close. You're not getting here. I'm the righteous. Science ain't coming to me. I mean, here these people is, they're against us, they want to kill us, and here they coming and talking with them? No, sir. Remember this. We have documented proof, and white folks have showed us also, that there are landing strips in New Mexico or in Mexico that are no longer being used. And the reason why that is because we told them not to come here no more until we have solved this problem. Now, we're out in space, and we are the God of the universe and the cream of this planet. And if they think, the ones that's on the outside think that they got some type of way to break through what we asked them to do, impossible. We're their God. They're not ours. And to show you that hasn't happened, the strips is still there, but there haven't been no activity there. And like I told you, Mexico means that you may come and go. And when the gods saw them coming to visit him, not just coming to visit a planet, because they're wise enough to know that the planet has life on it. You can't just bust in and disrespect the life there, so you got to be invited. So the God, yes, you may come and visit me. We built a landing place for them. They came and landed and visited with the gods. They used to do it frequently. And when the gods saw what they had and what they were doing, he said, man, that's pretty good. I'm going to create me one. What they got is everything they got is made. So as long as it's made, it has limitations. So the God said, now I'm going to create me some ships, create them where there's no limitations to it. So how they going to come in and they ain't did that yet? If I tell you don't come in my house, I'm doing something. Don't come in here. I go and lock the door. Ain't no way you gonna get in without me knowing if I'm there. If you gonna try to get in, you ain't got the key. You gonna have to try to bust it down and hear you. And with this type of knowledge, I don't have to hear you. I feel you. Who's at the door? I might go to open it. Didn't I tell you to stay with me here? Don't even tell me what you want. Just get away. I'll send the messenger to you. You see? We have given white folks everything that they're supposed to have had. We gave them scripts and scrolls of what they're supposed to do in every 2,000 years of their existence and what they should do once I show up. Not that we have let them, the knowledge that they have by going out and peeping in the universe, they have seen us out there. And they've seen other life forms also with their spacecraft, but they are not allowed to come here to teach them nothing. Nothing. If it's doing any telepathic teaching, it's coming from us to them for a particular thing that we got to set for them to get set up for us. That's all. You follow what I'm saying? Yes, sir. If we're not dealing with the water and the fish in it at this particular time, and we come and give them the knowledge to know how to do it, it's not for them. It's for them to get it started and get it ready. By the time they finish, they got to go and we got it.
Yes, sir.
You see?
Yes, sir.
So no, sir. So that's a bunch of what they say hogwash.
Yes, sir.
But you'd be surprised how many people believe that.
Yes, sir.
You know, all of them want to kill themselves with the Hillbach comet. Think a ship was behind it. I mean, we can't prove it wasn't. But he ain't coming back and prove that it was either. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Just one last question. What is the definition of a man?
A man?
Yes, sir.
The definition of a man is math. I need to say more?
No, sir, Father.
It's the physical expression of math. It was man first, and the system that he put into motion to make sure that he's always right and exact was so much himself, was the physical expression of himself. So he wouldn't just call it man. He called it math.
Yes, sir.
And out of math, you get master. So that's why since we have to come from a woman's womb, we grow up, and in our growing, we grow into mastery using the math. And after we use the math and come into mastery, we become a man.
Yes, sir, Father. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Walaikum salam.
I want to thank you for letting me be in your presence today, and excuse my voice for cracking up. But whenever I'm in your presence, I can feel such a power that it trembles my being. I need to get some clarification or understanding from you. Is it all right if I redeposit money that I've drawn from the nation's bank? I say that because at the time I drew the money, I didn't explain what I drew it for. However, the IRS was behind me, and so was the court of Maryland. And when I first thought about it, I got a little fear, and then I said, Father, help me. However, I drew the money out because I don't trust the IRS, and I don't trust the court. And I don't know when they may knock on my door and say, all right, you got to go. You know, so I took this money out to put it aside just in case. And after I visited with you in the unseen, I sat on the money for 2 months. And of course, the court told me, first time I shared with you that I had to go to court. And you told me, go ahead, don't worry about it. And I did, and they didn't even call me. However, the second time they postponed it, and I had to go back. So the second time, the judge told me I had to pay this bill that I did not make. And I tried to explain it, but they refused to listen. The IRS said that I owed them for 2 years, which was 1993 and 1994. However, I was able to acquire the papers for 93. They claimed they couldn't find the papers for 94. So they wrote me a nice little letter begging my apologies for the year 93. However, I still owe them for 94. So between the IRS and the courts, it would come to about $4,000. So to keep from having to, I didn't want to get the money because you are using it for the building of our nation. So, I mean, this means more to me than anything. However, I redeposit the money back. But there was a misunderstanding. And it's my understanding that this can be done.
Well, I have to look at your particular case. However, this is what should be done. If you're really with me, you don't worry about no IRS. A bill that is owed, whatnot. You know, we got lawyers, and we also got Brother Abbas Rasul. And then if they get by him, you got me. You know, we had asked white folks to make sure that they take care of us from 20 to 25 years because we took care of them for 6,000. You know, when I was working, just by the time I stopped, they sent me a letter to the employer, said I owed them $21,000. And I said, what? $21,000? I don't even know what that looked like. $21,000. Well, what they had done, they had gone all the way back as far as with the messenger and whatnot. Working with the messenger. All these years I owed him, that's what it came to. I said, well, I don't see you getting paid. So the man that I work with, I said, well, they sent him, you know, to garnish my pay and everything, so he was the real Job, so he acted just like Job. Scientists visited me, and I told him about it whatnot. He kind of smiled. He said, don't even worry about it. But 2 weeks later, they sent a letter to me from St. Louis, Missouri, with an apology. I ain't heard from him since. I kept the letter. But now I've grown to understand that that's one of the things that they do to keep fear into you, but it ain't something you've got to do. And especially those of you that are seniors, if you are not working, there's nobody that can get it from you. And if you're really with me, I know how to deal with them. I know how to deal with them. Now, if there is a bill that you owe as far as to a company or a person, I don't say, even if they're white, yes, go ahead and pay it if you really owe it. And if you need it, let me know. Say, well, Father, I need to pay this so and so time. Then if we don't have it, I say, all right, give us the bill. I'll talk to the people myself. They don't never tell me no. Never. But I say, well, look, I'm going to pay you 2 weeks from now. Well, Mr. Jenkins, we got to have it today. I say, and? Well, that's what the agreement was. Well, we can always be flexible. You're going to get it 2 weeks from now. Well, are you sure you can get it by 2 weeks? Don't worry about it. It'll get 2 weeks. Well, if it's going to be 2 weeks, we're going to have to add on another $250. We're going to pay you what we owe you. Now, the other $250, I don't know if you're going to get that, but I'm telling you, you're going to get your bill, and that's it. Don't bug me. They're going to make you think that you're still their slave. So you better jump and do what they say, else they sending down Mr. Bobo with the clubs. They ain't going to do that. If they did, everybody have to have a club because everybody owes somebody. Only thing you do is just keep your word. If it's 2 weeks, you send it to them. If something happens before then, go and send it. But if it's someone of you all that is the elders that was with the messenger, and somebody's putting that type of pressure on you, just let me know. You know, your nephew was pretty bad. You know, most of the time, when I speak with people, I don't let their anger or their anxiousness upset me or alter my perception of what I'm seeing. You know, some of them come all, you know, I got to have it today. If I don't, my grandmother's going to die. You know, they be all fired up. But, well, you got to have it to do what with? Well, I got to pay so-and-so and so. Oh, okay, I'll talk to so-and-so and so. Then if they're lying, they'll come out and say, nothing is never that urgent. If it becomes that urgent, even white folks got a system set up. They'll take you to intensive care. Is that right? Yes, sir. Other than that, it only appears to be that urgent. The real urgency is that you take all that is within your power, all that you have, and put it and place it with this to make sure it grows properly and give it the strength and foundation that it needs so when everything else crumbles, because everything is pointing to it. Everything is pointing to it. The earth is dropping earth around your feet. Everything is pointing to it. You know, we have people that's with us, and their parents think that we crazy. So they want to make sure, look, let me check them out. They're with her, she's with her, he's with her in a cult. You know, and if they find us, well, I had a person call me and say, well, I'm getting some calls, should I return it? I used to say, yeah, call them up and talk to them. I mean, they're concerned. I mean, go and talk to them. You can't talk to those people. Your mother and your father call, they're hell-bent on you in a cult. So I don't care what you say, it ain't gonna make sense to them. So now they're planting doubt in the person. Now this is my mother, or this usually don't be their father. This is my sister, or this is my mother. I mean, it is blood. They're concerned about me. Maybe I should wait a. I'm telling you, I'm telling you. When it gets to D-Day, call on them and see if they can save you. I'm telling you. I mean, there's no. I'm teaching you, and I'm telling you, and teaching you. If you think that your motion and activity is so great in life that you got to keep doing that and put this second or 1.5 on the side, and when you have extra time, you go and grab this. You're working with the master magician, better than David Copperfield when you're working with this devil. There's nothing greater. If I gave it up, and didn't know where the heck I was going. I'm sitting in the house, the man done came, the sheriff done came. I said, well, I know they told me the scientist told me, said, anywhere you go, you'll be successful. But you got to stop work. And I said, stop work? I didn't hear you say you're going to pay the rent. I didn't hear you say you're going to buy no food. And you ain't going to pay my car note. I think I owed 5 or 6 more payments. They ain't say none of that. Just say stop. You know, that don't sound good. So I said, well, they didn't say it now. They probably come back tomorrow and let me know. So they didn't come back tomorrow. They didn't come back the next day. They didn't come back the next day. Whoa, I better go back to work. So I said, I work real slow. And that's what I did until they stopped me. I couldn't go to work. And they wouldn't let me take no money from nobody. Wouldn't let me take nothing. So when the landlord people said, look, you're going to pay the rent, you got to go to court. I'm thinking, well, they're going to show up any day. You know, they pay the rent. Next thing I know, I got to go to court. I went to court, they called my name, went up there, when you going to pay the rent? Don't have the money. 48 hours, you got to get out. I said, well, within 48 hours, they'll be here. Sheriff come, put the thing on the door, blam. He left. I opened the door, looked at it. Whew. Snow was up to my knees. My sister was mad as hell with me, said I was crazy. I ain't had no place I could go. Because to everybody that knew me, they knew me as a man that worked, a man that kept his word. If I said something, I did it. Or you found me dying trying to do it. They knew, that's how they knew me. Now, I won't work. I can't tell them no way that what's happening that cause them to understand. They'll say, well, look, my sister did, when she did see me, last time she saw me, well, we need to take you to the insane asylum. We need to check you out. So I'm waiting 48 hours. I know they're going to show up. They don't show up. So I said, well, last hour, let me start hauling it out to the dumpster. And you know, all the things in my home was beautiful. I didn't have that much because the wife had already left. She said I was crazy. She took half and left me half. I didn't have, she could have took it all as far as I was concerned. But I guess she said, well, I'm going to keep a fight now, so I'll take half and leave me. So that's what she did. So when I got to the last hour, I started carrying it to the junkyard. wading through the snow. Up comes my sister. Ain't seen her in almost a year. Think I'm crazy. Oh, you got to move? Yep, got to move. This nice looking furniture. Yeah, you can have it. Went and got a U-Haul, put it behind the thing, went on, and you see me today. However, everything that I had to go through, they made me go through it to make me to know that the unseen is powerful. What you see isn't necessarily what you get. What you don't see, what they told me and showed me was such definition and such power that it made me stand still regardless of what was going to take place. And when I left and went with her, I couldn't stay with her either. They kicked me out. Or put it this way, they had conditions that I would not submit to. So I went and lived in the house with no heat, no running water, no nothing. And it was in January. Cold. Had me a big blanket, big comforter. Crawl up underneath that boy. Used to stay there half the day. But everything they told me, they did everything they told me. So I know it works. So much so now I do it. You see? So if you was with the messenger and you got the idea of this and you keep watching me instead of the other people that is trying to be like me and judging them as though they should be me, you will mess up. Right. Everybody that is here is trying to be like me. That's what they're supposed to do. They haven't reached it yet, but they're on the road. So when you judge them, thinking that they should be like me, you make a grave error. Because when you judge them, you're really judging me. If you do it to them, you've done it to me. So if anybody's bugging you, let me know. I'll talk to you about the situation in detail.
Thank you, Father.
Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. 4:27. We supposed to be at 5? 5 o'clock? All right, 5 o'clock. So whatever you all going to do, I'll answer a couple more questions, and you all do what you have to do. We get out at 5. I think they've gone up on the rent on this place. I think on Sundays we were paying $150. What are we paying now, Sister National? Sister National, on Sunday. Oh, she don't know yet. Well, they might double everything. You listen? Yes. I mean, they can do it. It's their place. They send us a note, say, well, we'll let you know in due time so you can make the necessary adjustments. However, because they've gone up on the rent, that's on Tuesday nights, it was $25. I think it's $50 a night now, every weeknight. They just double everything. So it's letting you know what time it is. You see? So I'm not going to stay over 5 o'clock. So it's 4:28 here now. So I'll try to answer real quick. Yes, sir, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. I had a question about the money chip. I wanted to know when it's going to leave. Like when we going to get on it.
Right after we finish dealing with Silas and his people, we'll be leaving on the mothership.
Yes, sir.
We got quite a few things to do first. So you are out in heaven, and your parents have given quite a bit to make sure that we have heaven, and now you're back here. In order for you to get on the mother plane, you got to show what you can do here.
Yes, sir.
You can't skip number 1 and jump to 10. So I'm just saying this, our behavior towards each other, if it's done outside of the idea and what we are living for, it's also cataloged. So yes, we'll be leaving on the ship, but you're not going to get on it just because you say you're with me and you're black. You got to get on the ship because you're supposed to be on it based on your thinking and what you are doing. Not that you can do something to get on it. However, if what you are doing is the way you're thinking, you're in accord with what I'm thinking, that alone will get you on it. Now, if you trick us and get on over there, we bring you back, drop you in the fire. So it ain't no getting away. It's foolproof. There's no getting away. Ain't no such thing you're going to run away from home. And then you find you ain't got no place to come. You come back home, and we're gonna accept you. You know, we say, come on in. We got a ride for you. Carry you over and drop you, click, and let you roast. You all may think this is funny, but it's real. It's real. You know, I would much rather you do things for the right of it than because of the fear of it. And the things that I tell you about, it is so horrific and horrendous, you really can't phantom it. So it sounds, you know, like, oh, boy, that would be terrible. But if I ask you, what makes it terrible? You can't come up and see what will make it terrible. If I'm going to bring you back on the ship and drop you in the fire, you were thinking in your mind, well, that ain't too bad. At least I got a ride. But the fullness of it, you really think about it. Or if I send you the fear and let it come up in you. Or if I make you feel like you want to regurgitate all the time. Have you ever had a pain right at the end of your spine? It's like it's trapped gas. And it gives you a tremendous pain. And you can't release it. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about, do you? Do you all know what the bends is? Yes, sir. You know, you go swimming and come up too fast? Anybody ever felt that? Like I said, you don't think the way I think. So, you know, I always do things in a way where you can get out of it. But getting out of it. Woo!
Yes, sir, for honesty.
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm glad you do. You're a young man. You were there. Now you're here. And you were like the man on Usual Suspect. You having people think that you can't when you actually can. However, you're with the God now. So I see you. So when you be you, you might get a ride.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Someone.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, sir, Father. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I just wanted to thank you. You shared that you wanted the brothers to stand up and be men. I said I wasn't going to get emotional. I want to thank you for blessing me with a brother who is standing up being a man and has showed me so much that I just can't find the words to express. I also wanted to ask you.
Are you a brother first you tell his wife?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's all right.
That you expressed that our mothers share with us that we with a cult. That's my mother. You know, since I've been with the idea, she's always been a person who, whenever she shared something, that always influenced my thinking or my decision. However, since I've been with the idea, I don't let that affect me. However, when we tried to share the idea with her, you with the cult, you crazy, you know, this, that, and the other. However, since I've been with the idea, my mother has had 2 strokes. We're in the motion of moving into our own place. So I won't have to have Satan right on me like that. Because when I finish from class or coming to MGT, I say, oh man, I gotta go home to Satan. As soon as I go in the door, it's this, you this and you that. And my question that I'm asking is that when I move from her home, is this a sign that because she's lost all the will and motivation to get herself well, is this a sign where she'll be passing on or she'll just give up or just keep having strokes? And because to me, it'll be a blessing if she passes now before the destruction and everything else takes place or come to its fullness. I just need some clarity.
Well, it depends upon her. The main thing is that you are being moved away from that situation. We have to cut the umbilical cord from our parents and from our everyday mundane devilish way of thinking in life. Once you cut it and you actually engage yourself into this type of activity, then whatever happens to them is what they bring on themselves. To come against you is to come against me. You are not the author of righteousness. And just because you had enough sense to recognize it and want to participate in it, and they want to hinder you at every step, then you put them in my hand. I might not want them to die. I might want to make them an example, But what you do is back up off and let me have it. You give me yourself and give her to me also. So I know exactly what to do with them. Satan can't do anything. He don't have no power. I want you to listen. He don't have no power. Whatever power you express from him is your power that he's using on you. So if it's something that's really hard against you, whatever it is, if you're taking it that way, it's your power that you're using on your own self. He's convinced you to do. If you take and twist your finger and break it, and you say, well, he's crazy. Satan can't do that. He can convince you in your mind to break your own finger. You got the power. It's your own strength that's breaking your own finger. If you just say, all right, Satan, you want to break it. He can't break it. You can't even feel it. You can't even feel no pressure in him even touching it. He can't do any of that. However, let her go. Don't wish her to have no good luck, bad luck, death, life. Don't just let it go. Period. Just let it go. I'll deal with it. Just say, I'm giving you to Allah. Whatever he sees fit, that's what's going to happen to you. And you can tell her that. All right? And I'm going to help you anyhow. All right?
I have two more questions. The first question is that I watched on TV where it was a Caucasian boy sharing with another boy that what a father is. Sharing that a father is a person who does this, and a father is someone who shares with you why we have salt in the ocean. I said, I know his father ain't shared that with him. I'm going to ask mine. Why do we have salt in the ocean, and what's the purpose of the salt in the ocean and seawater?
Well, salt is a way that, the earth has been here a long, long time. You figure yourself to live to be 100, 200, you think you lived a long time. The earth itself has been here for trillions of years, not billions, trillions of years. So long that the earth isn't big enough to house its own history. So what we have done, we've developed this thing, what we call salt, to house it. It's like a library. So when you know how to use it, you take the salt and you put it where you're supposed to place it. And you got to have a certain kind of water with your will, and it'll display a screen. And they will play back to you what's in it. And that's why Salt Lake City or Utah, where you got all your salt beds and whatnot, the state is called Utah. It means you tell. You see, so that's what the salt is in the ocean for. In other words, the ocean is much larger than the earth. And if we just put the salt on the earth body part, it is so powerful, the nature of it won't allow things to grow. So we put it in the water itself. Yes, sir. That's why it's there. So when we go to extract it, we get the history of the earth.
My other question is from my brother. He lives in Hampton, Virginia. And
we got to hurry up.
He wanted to know, is there really a such thing as time travel or dimensional time?
Well, yes, ma'am. Not the way the white folks show you. And we say, well, it's soon coming, there's not going to be no such thing as time, because what constitutes time is wrong. However, you might say, well, how can I tell? What language would I use to determine or to express when the tide is going to come in and go out, if I'm not going to apply time to it? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, that don't have anything to do with right or wrong. However, you got to know certain things because it happens at certain intervals. Is that right? Yes, so if you're a navigator, or even the earth itself and the weather patterns, whatnot, you got to know how to do certain things according to what we would say the time that it happens or the time that it takes place. And they don't have anything to do with negative. So I'll teach you on that later on.
Yes, thank you, Father.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to have to be real quick. We got a few minutes.
Alaikum, Father.
Alaikum.
I would like to share some comments that have been coming back to us as a family. One was Well, one is we have some of the students that's in our university. Their parents may see that they're not developing the way that they see that they should develop. So they're ready to take their child out of our university. Comments such as those in the family are not always right. Would you expound on that type of idea or that type of thinking?
Yes, ma'am. That type of thinking, if these are thoughts, that's why I said open this up for questions. Whatever you want to ask me of that nature, you should ask. So you give your own mind peace. Now, if you're judging what happens in my home, as far as the family go off on their own thinking also, I'm not saying they don't ever do it. However, they know they got an answer for it. You go off on your thinking, you might not have to answer the way they do. There is no time when anyone that's with me go off on their own thinking, and if it's wrong, they get away with it. They are learning also. They're not me. Even though the wise, how close they are to me, they're not me. And I question them. And since it's more than one, they talk to each other. And one will tell on the other if they think, hey, that ain't right. I mean, Father ain't teaching us that. They say, well, look, let's go see Father. And Father, so-and-so says so-and-so and so-and-so, and they did, is that right? No, that's not. I may ask, well, how did it come about? In other words, what I'm saying is they're not at liberty to just do what they want to do because they in the royal family. No, they got to do what's right. I'm telling you, if you all want to, you question my wife. Or why? You question either one of them that's with me. I don't show no favoritism. I don't show it to me. I don't show no favoritism. I really don't. Because when I do that, it means I'm leaving something that I got to go back and redo. And I don't like to go back and do anything. And as far as the children that's in our school, I remember the messenger told us that Master Farad Muhammad told him it would have been better off if we had never went to not one day of school of the white man. We've been better off if we hadn't went one day. Now, those of you that are here with me and with us, and you're going to school, and it don't appear that you're learning what is being learned in the devil's school, it looks like, well, the children is behind. I'm not preparing nobody to go work for white folks. I'm preparing you to learn how to think. And if you can think, you can't be tricked. I'm not training nobody. White folks train you. I'm not training nobody. I'm teaching you how to think. Now, when the little ones come and they learn this is what makes them, you can get anybody from any other school, they're savages. Outright savages. Anytime you're going to send them to school, you don't know if they're going to get killed on the way home, on the way going, or even in school. I got my finger against it. Matter of fact, I got my hand against it.
Yes, sir.
So that type of thinking, comparing that's dangerous. Like I said in the beginning, I'm teaching you how to read, yes. But you got to learn how to read this open book. These books that you can open up and close, you better leave that alone. And the messenger, before he left us a book. He said, lend an ear to it. You get the tapes and read into that. If you can read outside of what you hear on the tapes, then you're a better man than me. And I guarantee you there's no life form living that's greater than me. It don't exist. It's true. And because it is true, I have the right to express it. I'm a jealous God. I'm a jealous God. If you're with me, you're with me. And whatever I have you doing, that's what you're supposed to do. Now, if you grow out of that into something else, hooray for you. You're not going to outgrow me. So if you go from stage to stage, that's what you're supposed to do. However, there's a point of origin that you got to start from. And then anybody reading about Tom, Dick, and Harry going up the hill, touch the pail of water. Or some Mary had a little lamb. Forget that. Woo! I know Brother Avery used to say, he's bore witness 2 or 3 times. Said, when Father was coming along, he didn't like reading. Never read well. Never cared for it. Because what I was reading was a bunch of mumbo jumbo that kept me a slave. If I got to read it, that means I got to take time, sit down and read it. This is what I do for you all. You don't have to read it. Get in your car, pop the tape in and ride. You ain't got to stop and look. If you're sitting home and doing your dishes, not vacuum, but if you're doing your dishes, or if you are watching Little Jane read, pop the tape in. It don't never stop you. I don't never stop. I always keep you free. But everything Whitey give you, you got to stop. You got to stop. You buy your brand new car, you better catch you the dealer. You better stop, catch you the dealer.
All right.
I ain't heard of nothing yet. Neither one of the created ships had to stop for repair. You think about it. That's why you all think this, because you're really not really listening with the ear and the nature of yourself. Yes, sir. What I'm expressing, if you really get into it, is complete freedom, real freedom. Yes, I don't never stop you from doing anything, especially even if you're working for the devil. Get the headset. So who can't even charge you for not doing the work? You started doing the work, but you listen. You listen. You might say, woo, while you listen, but you might come in, what you want wrong? Is that right? Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to leave you, but I'm not stopping you from leaving me. I'm going to tell you one thing. I got some beautiful children coming up from my loins. I ain't sent them to neither school. And the last birthday had, my wife didn't go to the hospital. Whitey don't even know she's here. You see? And we got another one, I think, coming. Where's the captain? Oh. Well, we'll see how that's going to turn out. But everything is being changed. So if you keep looking back like, you got to do it the way this world say do it, you stay with that. Then when you turn around to see where I'm at, I'm going to be so far ahead of you, you'll say, wow, there's no need to even take off. I'm telling you. If I teach you how to think, I don't have to teach you what to think on. If you learn how to think, and if you want to go learn how to read, go learn. Then in your knowing how to think, what you're reading won't keep you no prison. Is that it, babe? Thank you. Real quick. Maybe I should apply it myself.
Assalamu alaikum, Father. I have a paper harvest for short. Should the members in Baltimore in the next few months to come begin to look for an apartment complex or something like an elderly building where we can combine income and live together in one central place?
You can begin to look, yes, ma'am. You can.
Yes, sir. I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
What are some of the signs to know that you are with your soulmate?
Peace. If you're with your soulmate, when you see him, you don't have to know the name. It's something that locks in. And what you see, what you experience at that time is absolute peace and happiness and an opportunity for an endless expression of whatever's in your mind. Then you know you got the soulmate. Now, if there's some type of friction there, some type of doubt, there might be a good mate, they ain't your soulmate.
Thank you, Father.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all for coming out. Next week, we intend to be in heaven. And the head is going to see what the body's been doing. So when you go there, be civilized. Make sure you take advantage of everything that is there. Don't complain. It's yours, so if you see the person need help, help. If you're there to be served, and you see that people ain't moving up fast enough for the service, you know how to do it. Say, hey, do you have another uniform, or do you have somebody I can wash my hands? Let's get it done. It's yours.